Well, I have to say it's always an absolute joy and a pleasure to talk to this man. And you know what? I can't think of anyone better to discuss the 2022 WRC season with. That's difficult to say. The 2022 WRC season with than Andrea Adamo. Andrea, I would say good evening to you, but I think it's good morning to you, isn't it, where you are?
Yeah, it's pretty good morning. It's pretty good morning. It's 9:30, I guess, something like this.
How are you, my friend? How are you feeling this morning in Is it Milan you're in?
Turin. Everything's
That's what I
fine.
meant. How is it in Turin?
It's a bit a cloudy day, but looks like it's getting better. So I will go out for a trekking walk later.
Beautiful. Well, before you go for a walk, Andrea, do you know what? We've just seen the conclusion of the 2022 season. I'm sure in some ways it was a difficult season for you to watch from a distance.
Well, I was not really angered to it, but it was nice to see time to time what was going on. Of course, emotions are still there. Of course, I had many people that I care that were having a difficult one, but I think has been a strange one to say the least, in my opinion, with new rules that were managed in a different ways from between the different enters. Someone came at the start of the season much better prepared, others came later. We had some drivers that delivered on top, some others that they did not. And so very strange one in my opinion. And in the second half of the year, I would say, has been very unpredictable.
Yeah, I agree totally. Well, let's go back then. Let's go back to the start of the year, Andrea, and let's if you don't mind, let's start by talking about your team. A lot of people still refer to it as your team. It's 12 months since you left, but it's still seen as Andrea Adamo's team in many eyes, many people's eyes. How difficult was it for you, Andrea, to watch what was happening in Monte Carlo, to see the team struggling so badly, to see the team at times pulling itself apart? What you brought to the team was unity. You brought one voice to the team, and you were fiercely protective of everyone within that team. In Monte Carlo, all of those principles, all of those disciplines seemed to go out the window, and it was just a disaster to watch. How did you cope with that? How did you feel watching that from afar?
Well, it was nothing than unexpected because, as I said already a few times, we get the green light for the project much later than the others. And in life, you cannot do miracles. And I have to say, the team has been severely really attached by the press, by everyone, and they did not deserve, they do not deserve, because they were so late, quite in a rush. There has been many changes at the last moment, and I think everyone has to praise the job that they have done along the year. Also, I think that they did something very nice because they twice won at their competitor home in Finland and in Japan in style, honestly. And if they can bring something good back home, is this thing. And it's been difficult. They were under huge pressure. They didn't crack, or at least time to time they crack. For sure, there are things that they have to sort, because in my opinion, the hybrid mistakes that they have done, they should not. And these are not the kind of mistakes that you can do and afford to do if you have to win a championship. But if you look back at the whole season, they cannot be criticized too much.
I think in terms of the performance, the ultimate performance at the end of the year, I would agree with you. I find it difficult to agree with you, though, in terms of the way the team has been run. You have to wonder what was possible. When you see what they've achieved, you have to then wonder what more was possible if they'd had a strong leader in place, if they'd had a defined leadership, if they'd had a structure that didn't allow the team to fracture. And it did fracture, Andrea. It fractured to the point where one of the very best drivers in the world said, no, I don't care that I've got a very lucrative contract next year. I'm leaving. I can't work in this environment. That's not good.
It's not good, but it's not easy to manage the things, and we have to say that let's see the things on the other way around. There has been people that they never had the experience to lead a team before, and they found themselves to manage a plane in a big thunderstorm, and it's not easy. And they have been able to land in style this plane. Someone has decided to part.
Andrea, hang on. I have to say now, I'm sorry to interrupt you. That is what we have missed this year. That is what we have missed in the WRC. That is such. You paint pictures with words, my friend. And that's the best explanation I have heard yet of the Hyundai situation. Oh, sorry to interrupt, Andrea, but wow. Carry on.
And someone thought that this could not be landed safely and decided to launch out of the plane with a parachute. It's for sure there is a big parachute, I'm sure, but let's call life, no? You have to be inside deeply to understand how can be managed. I've been in Hyundai many years. I think I understand 100% what has happened and what was possible to be done or not. It's not easy. It's not easy because we also have to say name and surname. Julien Moncet has never been entitled fully of the role that he had, that he's playing, he's doing. So, to go to the war, you need to have the tools to go to the war. To go to fight an army giving you darts is difficult. So he's been able to not be killed, and this is good. Because it's all the year that I heard that the team should be changed, that this and that, and if you go to a rally and you have to fight for a win, and the best thing that you hear is that things are going to change in the next days, things like this, you cannot go there with the mental approach, the stability mental approach, the calm that you need to go there and fight. It's like Colin, if you go to a rally and someone is going on telling you, but it's true that DirtFish is going to kick you out on Monday. It's difficult, I think, for you to make a nice report of the event, no? For sure, the situation is complicated. Someone has decided to leave, or it decided to leave. It's part of the freedom. I think can be understandable, because also to manage two top drivers, two of the three top drivers that there are out there now. Ogier is someone that is not playing all the season, is not running all the season, so sorry to say, I think there are three top drivers there. And to manage two of them in one team is very complicated, and I think has been already again quite a miracle what they have done.
No, I agree totally, and I think the job that Julien Moncet has done under the circumstances that you so well describe, he gets very little credit for it. He gets hardly any, if any, credit for it. And what we have to understand is that we looked at the team in Monte Carlo and said, disaster. It's a disaster, and it's a disaster to the point. Why are they bothering turning up? It's such a disaster. And at the end of the year, in terms of rally wins, they've had the most successful year they've ever had, the team. 5 wins. They've never won, as you know, you've never won 5 rallies in one season. And as you rightly said earlier on, they go to Finland and they beat Toyota there. They come here to Japan, they beat Toyota here. Moncet deserves an enormous amount of credit for that. But Andrea, the thing that you know and that I know is that he won't get that credit. What is wrong? Why is that happening?
It's called life.
Oh, life is hard. I feel for him because he's such a nice guy, isn't he? And a talented guy, and a capable guy.
Maybe it's too nice.
Maybe. I think that's it. I think that's the issue. It's a terrible thing, isn't it? It's a terrible thing. But do you also think, Andrea, that you set the bar a little bit too high?
No, it's
What
not.
you did.
It's not that. I think the changes there are too much, too many, so they have to understand. But I will not be surprised if we will see him in Monte Carlo leading the team.
You wouldn't be surprised if we did see him
No, no,
leading the
I
team.
will
You
not
think
be
that
surprised.
if he's there?
Yeah.
Wow, okay, that's great. That would be good news. That would be great news because I think he deserves a proper crack at it. What do they need to do, though, Andrea? The progress this year is nothing short of miraculous. Nothing short of miraculous. But what do Hyundai need to do between now and Monte Carlo to actually give Neuville a real chance of winning the driver's title and the team a real chance of winning the manufacturer's title against one of the best teams we've ever seen in the WRC? Toyota are right up there. Such a well-funded team, a well-resourced team, a well-run team, with a great car, a great engineer, a great boss. What do Hyundai have to do to wrestle the titles away from them?
Um, Honestly, Toyota looks like what you described, because they had quite an easy season somehow, because the competitors were not prepared or not at the level in many ways. Because as soon as the battle was a bit more tough, they did mistakes. Japan today is the typical example. In other moment, it's happened the same. If we look at the whole picture for next year, we have to have a look at the drivers' layout. Next year, they will have, so far as much as we know, Rovanpera for sure, top one. But then maybe Elfin, I don't know. I don't know. It's being confirmed. And who will be the third one? Alternation between Auger and who?
Well, we don't know. Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know what M Sport eventually will do. We don't know. Nothing has been confirmed. But if Hyundai is gonna have what everyone is bruising, or let me say, saying that is should be Lappi, Thierry, and maybe Craig, and maybe Danny. If you look at the bigger picture, I think they will be still the strongest team.
Toyota will still be the strongest
No,
team.
Hyundai.
Wow. With that lineup that you've just said, you think they'll still be the strongest team?
Look at the picture. I think yes. At the whole picture, yes, because I think so.
Wow. Okay. I think it's interesting. I think it's a little while since we saw such interesting moves in the drivers' market. So you mentioned Craig Breen there. Breen's had the most shocking season, Andrea. But clearly Hyundai still, if he does go, we don't know what's happening with Craig Breen, right? But a lot of talk that maybe he's going back to Hyundai. Some people would say, why? Why, when a driver has had such a bad season, would a team take him back?
I don't know. You have to investigate more. Craig, I think, has the tendency to crack under pressure. While in Hyundai he was doing well because he did the rallies where he was used to run well before, with not pressure, not too much pressure, and so he was able to deliver properly. Maybe the season for him is just too much. I don't know, and to have the whole team on his shoulder maybe is a bit too much. I don't know. We also have to consider that he had to fight against the drivers at the level of Wojtek Tanak, Thierry Neuville, Kalle Rovanpera, etc. So the bar is pretty high. So if you have the whole team on your shoulder and they've been asked to fight at this level, the pressure that you have on your shoulder is quite a lot. If you have to do a few rallies where normally you are going fast and you are honestly, it is the third driver, there is, I don't want to say no pressure, but the target that is asked you to fulfill is much less tough. And in this case, if you run, let me say, easily, you can do amazing things. And I think he did very well last year in Arctic. He did the year before very well in Estonia. He did very well in other rallies where he's normally running well. So maybe this is the place he has in WRC. You don't need only top drivers, no? You need also good drivers that can bring you back strong results at the end of the year, either to protect the top driver, either to bring points for the manufacturer championship.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there is a place for Craig in the championship. Whether that's next year's #1 driver at Ford or, as you say, maybe a
But
part-time driver
also
at Hyundai,
because,
we'll have to
sorry,
wait and
I
see.
don't see many good drivers
Yeah,
around, so we have to.
yeah,
We
absolutely.
can be
Yeah,
nicely and politically correct, and we can do the promoter job, saying that we have
that,
many good drivers, etc., etc. But if
that's
we
not
have
what we're here for,
to,
Andrea.
voila, if we have to say the things as they are, I'm not gonna see many top drivers around.
Yeah. Well, you know what, and that's kind of demonstrated by the fact that when we were discussing the various opportunities, and there have been more than normal this year, you were talking about drivers who you might argue have had their chances. Drivers like Andreas Mikkelsen, who's had his chance in many teams. Drivers like Hayden Paddon, like Mads Osberg. We're talking about drivers who have had their chance as potential, new recruits this year, and that does in some ways indicate the lack of available talent, young talent, new talent that's out
Yeah,
there.
but sorry to interrupt you. I think there is also a big mistake in the rules. Because on one
Oh, yeah.
side we do a nice story about the ladder, about new drivers, etc. And then we have a testing rules that is pretty stupid. Because how you can pretend that a manufacturer invest in a younger driver for the championship? Okay, someone can say that I invested in Oliver, but the plan was different, sorry. And you give him one test day per rally before each event. So you don't give him the possibility to stay in the car. Sorry, before in the past, drivers were able to stay much longer in the cars. They gave them the opportunity to do much more. And name and surname, Loeb in Sanremo 2001 was running the Xara. He was fighting with Panizzi on the last day, and he had the real chance to win the rally. But I think he was wearing out cars and tarmac and roads before this. Now you are no more allowed to do it. So if you are a manufacturer that has to spend millions to bring back home results, you prefer someone that is old but experienced, that knows the kind of cars that you have, and you know that one way or another will bring you points, or you invest in a new one that will have maybe one test day before the event.
It's tricky. But you know what? I've always thought, Andrea, there's a relatively straightforward answer to that, and it's to make the third car age limited. So you can put who you like in that car, but it's got to be someone under 24, someone under 23. And then you are giving you have to give young drivers a chance. Is that a potential solution to that problem? Or is that a little too radical?
I don't know. I think it's a bit too radical. These are mandatory things. I think you have to you have to write rules that allows manufacturer to choose. You cannot impose it. The last time that they imposed something was 2004 with the two cars, second driver, etc., etc., and it was not really a success. No? So I think that sometimes to look back at the past and take lessons from the past is not bad, no, for whatever things in life. Instead, it looks like that sometimes we are gonna do the same mistakes again and again and again. But you know, if you go to see the same movie again and again, the winner or the horse winner of the race will be still the same. Same movie, same results.
Yeah, that's very true. Andrea, let's talk a little bit about Oyt Tanak, because I know you're very close to Oyt Tanak, and I know you think very highly of Oyt Tanak. That man surely has still got an awful lot to offer this championship. He's still got championship wins in him. And I think, we saw, certainly I saw this year in Tanak, something I've not seen before, and it was a fierce fighting spirit. Yes, I've seen that determination to win before, but there was a ferocity about Tanak's desire, almost to prove people wrong at times this year, and I think particularly about Finland, which for me was just incredible, and I've not seen that in many drivers. It was frightening and it was impressive at the same time. We need Oyt Tanak in a good car in this championship to offer a competition variety and entertainment at the end of the day. We have to find a home for him next year.
I'm not his manager, so I think they are working to find something. From a fun point of view, to have the three top drivers in three different teams will be very good.
Yeah.
I think that he and Thierry have done an amazing season because they really won somehow rallies that they were tough to win, and they always were always pushing in different ways. I know, in different ways, but they were there. There are things in life that you cannot change, and to manage two top drivers is a tough job. I like to remember you that not even Ron Dennis, that looks like to be one of the top tough guy in the world, was not able to manage in the end Prost and Senna. So it's not something that it's so easy to do. For sure, we hope that Oit will be in the championship next year. But first of all, I hope him. I don't know how to say, but to have a sort of relaxed life and not always fight with everything.
Gino, WRC Invest, the only place to buy a world rally car. Run by enthusiasts like Alessandro Gino and Andrea Adamo. Andrea, let's move on. Let's move on to the state of the championship. Rally Japan, the final round of the year. Really important that we came back to Japan because Toyota have become an integral part of the championship. We've seen a Japanese driver standing on the podium in Japan. For me, that is one of the most important things the championship has witnessed in many, many years. It's really, really, really important for the future health of this sport that we are represented in Japan, in Korea, in this part of the world. What's your view on that? What's your view on where we're at with the championship and the importance of today's achievements for, in particular, Takamoto-san?
We have to see this thing under, in my opinion, under 2 points of view. Let's start with the good one, in my opinion. And the good thing is that, yes, in Japan there are many rally fans. The manufacturers are maybe interested to look at rally. You have a good audience, I think. Okay, maybe it's good to be there. Not at any cost. And I think someone back home has to have a deep thought about the way rallies are chosen. Because nice to be in new countries, but again, not at any cost. Because we have seen things that could have been quite with a more dramatic ends, and this cannot be. We cannot think about the money that Japan has brought to promoter and FIA to be there. We cannot think only about that it's nice to be at Toyota home, in Toyota town, in Toyota stadium, and to make Toyota happy. We have to think that I've seen things that were quite threatening. So there will be other rallies in the future. Maybe, but I'm no one to say something. Maybe when a new rally comes, the first edition should be strongly supporting organization by a FIA team that will stay there with them months to prepare the rally and to check everything. Expertises, we know many around, so I don't have to name them, there are many. And this team has to stay with the organizers and be there, leading the organizer and be sure that things are done in a proper way. Because, sorry again, but a civilian car running a stage in the opposite direction, by the way, you cannot accept in WRC. Sorry.
No, I agree with that entirely. I think that incident was a shocking incident, and the FIA have and the organisers have come out with a statement on it. But I do agree with you. I do agree that we do have to be very rigorous in the way that we assess rallies' suitability to join the championship, because at the end of the day, it is the WRC. It is the pinnacle of our sport, and we set the standards for the sport around the world. At national level, at club level, we set the standards in the WRC, and it has to be the highest of standards. That's absolutely for sure. But this year's seen a new era for the sport with the hybrid. That was supposed to give the sport a boost.
No, sure, it has
What do we do?
given.
What do we do, Andrea? What do we do? The sport doesn't seem to be in a bad place right now, but I think it's in a precarious place. I think there's a slight tipping point, and we can go either way. The sport can become once again really popular, or if we get things wrong over the next year or two, it could easily go the wrong way. What do we have to do to potentially secure the future popularity of this sport? Is there anything in particular that you think we should be doing that maybe we're not doing just now?
No clue. You cannot change the past. At the end of the season, I look back and I still think that these cars should not have never happened. And a sort of Rally 2 cars with more power, a bit more aero should have been the results of the new rules. Because this hybrid thing at the end of the year has created more polemic than plus. No one really understood why we have hybrid. It's not this ecology revirgination that has saved nothing. There has been no stories of the car running full electric around, even if I never have had. We had really more polemics than pluses around. We have a very expensive cars. No manufacturers will come, I guess. Sorry, this is the truth. And if you see at the results along the year, you don't have many Rally 1 sometimes, so it's quite sad. Maybe I'm dreaming, thinking about 5 manufacturers there, but maybe with Rally 2 you could add more, and with more cars around, and potentially maybe more drivers able to run. But you cannot change the past. So to go back to your question, what we can do for the future, Mamma mia, it's one of the most difficult questions I ever had early morning on a Sunday, I tell you the truth.
Yeah, but you like difficult questions, Andrea Adamo. You like your brain to be engaged early in the morning.
Well, normally you engage me in the evenings after a tough rally.
Yes,
So,
yes.
but I don't
That's
know
true.
really, I don't know.
Yeah.
I only see around, this has been the first year after 30 basically, where I was watching motorsport from outside. And I noticed one thing, that is not so attractive as it used to be. Speaking around with people, friends, etc., I see less and less interest. People are not knowing about motorsport, etc. The only sport where I see some attraction is that could be attractive, that is attractive, is Formula One. They did an incredible job with the Netflix series. Yesterday with friends I was having dinner in a pub. In a pub here they had different rooms, and in one they were having a TV with the Formula One Grand Prix, it was quali race. The room was full of people watching it. And different ages, different people. And if you ask around, people speak about or ask about or are attracted by Formula One for example, asking, no, because now I'm curious. I've always been curious, but many has been attracted by this drive to survive thing. So they are not attracted by Formula One, being Formula One or the Formula One that I was used to be attracted when I was younger, the technology and this and that, the top drivers. No, now I see young people, male, female, whatever, attracted because they see the charming around, the story raised by Drive to Survive. Many people are no more attracted by other motorsport discipline. WEC, no one knows it exists. Formula E died and buried. Rally, people that before they were asking me are saying that they don't look at it a lot, the fight is no more there. Yes, there has been this Rovanpera thing, and it's nice, but that's it. I was in a Rally Legend, and what I see, for example, that many people were there to look at the old cars, to be at the service park. They are attracted because they can see things close, but in the current rallies you cannot really even see things close. So I don't know, I don't have the answer, but you know, to have the answer, normally before you have to understand the problem. So which is the problem? I don't have a clear answer about the problem as well, but maybe it's just a different generation of people used to see different things. But then if we answer like this, it's quite superficial, because yesterday I saw people that were not only younger, they were also aged people or people of my age that they were just watching Formula One there. But you understand if people are watching Formula One with a real interest, with a deep knowledge, things like this. They were just watching there and enjoying seeing the cars banging a bit, etc., etc. And
Yeah.
it was lasting 24 laps. Having dinner, you watch it and finish. Rally maybe it's become difficult to follow. And the shakedown, what is the shakedown? And the Saturday night and the Thursday night stage. And the question, with all the respect, what is traveling between the stage with the Japanese people waving the flags? This is the question that you have to ask to a driver at the end of the stage? Sorry, I don't know. I don't know. Is this the level with which we want to present drivers in WRC? Asking them at the end of the stage how is traveling, seeing Japanese people waving the flags, how is that? Means that nothing is happening in the rally, means that there is no emotion, means that there is no fight there. Sorry, I spoke maybe too much.
No, you've not spoken too much at all, Andrea. And this is what I like always about talking to you, is that we get, we get insights from someone who's been there and done it. You've been at the very highest level in this sport. You've been responsible for, one of the sport's biggest teams, massive budgets. You've been responsible for bringing enormous success to the sport. So whenever we get the chance to talk to you, we always listen. And anyone that doesn't listen to you is being a little naive. I would say, because you've got that experience that should be listened to. But just going back to what you were saying there, I think the whole Formula One Drive to Survive model, what it shows, because before Liberty Media got involved, before Drive to Survive, the concept was established, Formula One was in trouble. There's no question Formula One was in trouble. And just one idea, one concept, and the sport is right back up there as probably the most popular sport, maybe one of the most popular sports in the world. So there is hope for rallying. There is real hope for rallying in that regard. Everything isn't lost. But, what we look at is we have all the assets. We have some tremendous characters. We have some unbelievable locations. We have technology which is just mind-blowing. But at the end of the day, in my view, it needs to be entertaining. This is the whole thing with Drive to Survive. People watch Drive to Survive to be entertained. They don't watch necessarily for the sporting context. The sporting context forms part of the entertainment. And I think at times in rallying we forget that the audience needs to be entertained. And the biggest challenge, as you rightly say, is entertaining an audience from Thursday afternoon to Sunday lunchtime. That's a massive challenge for anyone, Billy Connolly is the greatest comedian in the history of comedy. He would find it difficult to entertain an audience from Thursday evening till Sunday lunchtime. We need to put effort into entertaining people.
Yeah, and
Is that reasonable?
it's a two squeeze along the day. You start 7 o'clock in the morning, and then you have 4 hours in the lunch break where people maybe have time to watch rally. They are locked somewhere in a remote tire fitting zone, and then when they come back to work, the rally comes back. Is it smart? I'm no one, again, I'm
Oh,
no
yeah.
one. But, and then, of course, Drive to Survive is not the only answer. But we speak about
No.
technology. Formula One is coming back technology in 2000 in the future because they understood that they just spend money in technology that no one at home really understand what's going on. People at home, they like to know, they like to see the cars fighting. They are not going to say, I can see the MGU-K is working better on this car than on this one. And the MGU-H instead, and the MGU... Hey, come on.
Yeah, no, it's very true, Andrea. Listen, for me, in terms of the championship, we are making progress. We are moving forward, and as I say, I think we've got all the assets there to be a successful sport, a successful entertainment platform. I think that's what we have to look at these days, as I say, it being an entertainment platform in the future. So for me, there is a really strong future for the sport, but it does require a huge amount of thinking, and it requires the input from people like yourself, who know exactly what they're talking about. So talking about, people like yourself putting input, Andrea Adamo, how's things look? How are things looking for you? If you don't mind me asking, how is the future looking for
And yeah,
yourself?
sorry to
We know you're
interrupt you,
obviously.
but when you call me Andrea Adamo, remember me, my old girlfriend, when she was so upset with me, she used to call me Andrea Adamo, and I know something bad was coming.
I'm never upset with you, though, so you know that I'm not upset with you. Um, but, yeah, what's the future, Andrea? You've got an enormous amount still to offer. I think our sport. Is there a chance we'll see you back involved in any capacity in rallying?
No, thank you.
Really? What about Ferrari keep messing up? We know you're an arch strategist.
Listen,
Ferrari need a
let's
new.
say something once for all. I'm enjoying my life. I'm happy of what I'm doing. I'm really
Good.
enjoying what I'm doing with Gino WRC, with WSC, with TCR, and all these kind of things. I woke up in the morning, I saw the results, I'm enjoying the time like this. I'm gonna trekking this afternoon, evening at 6 o'clock. I go to see a movie with friends and then a pizza, and then I go home, I go to sleep, I do some other cars and things like this. I spent 30 years of a rush life, okay? I've done it. Sometimes in life you have bells ringing, some alarms, some things that wake you up and let you understand, okay, there are better people than me around, it's their time to show that they are good. I'm enjoying 100% what I'm doing, and I'm 51 years old. I know I look like 40, but I'm 51 years old, sorry. And that's it.
Yeah, you still look like Bruce Willis to me. Anyway, Andrea Adamo, as long as, listen, we know you're semi-retired and doing a great job with Gino WRC Invest. And I have to say an enormous thank you to yourself and Alessandro for joining us this weekend in Japan and sponsoring our coverage of Rally Japan. We very, very much appreciated that. But as long, Andrea Adamo, and I'm not getting angry with you by calling you Andrea Adamo, it's because you're my friend and I'm able to call you Andrea Adamo. As long as you answer the phone to us and that you're happy to give us your opinion when we ask for it every now and again, and sometimes a little bit of guidance. It's always nice to get your guidance on things. As long as you keep doing that, then I'm happy with whatever you're doing.
Yeah, but as long as I will not be like the old man that they are gonna say, in the old good days. I don't like old good days. I like to live the present and the future. So the day that I will recognize that I'm just speaking like the old people are saying to the young guns, saying, it was better once. No, I don't like to say it was better once. I like to say, let's push to make it better the future. But with facts and not with slogans, etc., etc.
Well, on those very wise words indeed, Andrea Adamo, we will say thank you very much for your precious time on this Sunday morning. As always, an absolute pleasure to talk to you and get your opinions. Andrea, thank you.
Thank you, Colin. It's been a pleasure. And for once, I've not answered you just a yes and no.
I've missed that though. I've missed it.
Not
Thank you,
believe.
Andrea.
Ciao, my friend.